Welcome everyone, Adam Edwards, CEO of Telarus for another C2C. This time, first time, we have two guests. We're going to be talking to Adrianna Bustamante, Senior Director of Alliances at Rackspace. Also, we're going to be talking to Dell. We've got Mike Piccininni, Senior Manager of Global Alliances at Dell. And the reason we have them both on the call today is to talk about the alliance between these two organizations and why it matters to you and how partners can access Dell through Rackspace. So let's get started. First of all, Mike, I'd like to start with you at Dell. So Dell, really a new entrant into this channel space. Dell's been selling in the channel for years and years, but into the IT channel, now into the agent broker channel. We are accessing Dell through Rackspace. And I want, before we talk about the Rackspace partnership, I'd like to hear from you about Dell, the transition from, everyone knows Dell as this hardware, massive organization, but you've made this pivot to cloud. Tell us about that and some of the offerings.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, and thank you. I think, the most relevant piece here is Dell's strategy within the cloud space. We are absolutely still making hardware. We believe the best hardware, on Earth. I think where we are focusing though now is that infrastructure, that best of breed, not just hardware, but hardware and software. If you look at Dell Technologies as an overall company, sure, we make servers, we make storage devices and backup devices and networking, but at the same time, those are still point products that don't necessarily deliver a multi-cloud outcome unless you bring in a partner, right? Someone that can deliver that as a service model type, right? I think when you add into that the VMware software stack, that's a component of the Dell Technologies family. You combine the best of breed software with the best of breed infrastructure, and you bring in a specialty provider like a Rackspace, you get that customer driven outcome for a true cloud, multi-cloud type use case.
Okay, so we're talking about VMware combined with Dell hardware, all of that software, hardware combined with a wrapper of management with a company like Rackspace, and you've got magic.
Absolutely.
So tell us about some of the things that you're seeing being taken up by customers out there that our partners will want to know about, some of the trends you're seeing. You mentioned one as we chatted before. Would love to hear about the idea of repatriation.
Sure. Yeah, I think overall the cloud space, we've seen a massive uptick, of course, if you read any news or look at the analysts related to hyperscale and just overall cloud growth. A couple of the metrics that I think that's very relevant when you look at this as a true opportunity for our entire ecosystem is really clients are looking for more on-demand type computing. Cloud is a very easy word to throw at them, right? But overall, you have to look at this as an aggregate, right? There's a core, there's an edge, there's a cloud. But the realistic thing is customers need access to data when they need it at the right time in the right place. So overall, repatriation is something that we've seen a tremendous uptick in. And basically what's happening is not all workloads are the same, right? There's a mix of performance and economics and trust. And sometimes when you look at maybe a cloud workload, a workload that you designated for a cloud at one point in time, if you really look at it and look at the analytics, we're finding a great opportunity to build a purpose-built private cloud that's delivered from Rackspace, almost as an alternative to just throwing things out to a hyperscaler and hoping for the best outcome.
So let me ask you this. In the move to private cloud, I think a lot of our partners have looked at, a customer going to AWS or Azure as really not in their wheelhouse anymore. But this drive to repatriation, this drive to bring it back, says that they've got an opportunity here to add value, to bring incremental, features, functionality, use cases to their customers that may have written off as no longer an opportunity.
Right. I think that's really where I think between all of our groups within this organization, we have what you guys can do to help connect a lot of those dots. I think what Rackspace can deliver as a service and what we believe is the best infrastructure and software to power those services, it's a massive market opportunity, right? Because I think the one thing that we don't touch on probably often enough is data growth, right? It's exponential, right? There's more data now than ever before, and they'll continue into the future. So these opportunities aren't just going to be happening. They're going to be getting larger and larger monthly recurring revenue, larger transaction sizes, right? And just the fact of the matter that Even the private cloud side of the business is growing, 6 times faster than it was in years prior. I think right now the repatriation is a double down on the overall opportunity.
Okay, you raced through that, and let me just pull you back. You said it's growing 6 times faster than it was just a couple of years ago.
Yes. Yeah, from a hosted private cloud perspective, yes, absolutely.
Okay. And one more time, walk through the reasons someone would repatriate. Why would we go from public cloud? I've got this always on demand, totally elastic, infrastructure out there. Why are companies repatriating?
Overall, there's a mixture of performance requirements. There's cost models and just overall pricing. And honestly, one of the other things is, trust, compliance, right? There's more and more optics on each one of those major tenants, right? If I have an enterprise application, can I absolutely guarantee uptime, availability? Can I do that at a significantly reasonable cost point, or is this exorbitant in one way up or down, right? And then the trust, right? I think overall we're seeing more and more interest in protecting your data, protecting your client data, protecting against attacks, ransomware, things of that nature. And we're seeing those as the major tenets of helping make these decisions and at least look at benchmarking, right? Here's my existing landscape today, and how can I compare built with a purpose-built, optimized and secured private cloud with a provider that has, a national or global footprint and best of breed cloud services to complement it all.
So Adrianna, let's switch over to you to the Rackspace perspective. I mean, Rackspace is known in the channel. Partners depend on Rackspace, just knowing about your fanatical customer support. They know their customers are going to get a great experience, which is why partners tend to lead toward Rackspace. So now all of a sudden you're touting this Dell logo when you've already got brand recognition. Why do you think it's so important to have Dell? I mean, most partners in the channel just assume if you deliver to Rackspace, if you bring a customer to Rackspace, they're just going to take care of it. Don't worry about what's underneath. Rackspace will deliver. Why is it so important that we know about this Dell partnership?
Yeah, no, well, first off, thank you for all of the compliments around the partnership. I'm glad that we are serving you and your community well, because that is, big into our bread and butter. Fanatical experience for our partners is just as paramount is to our customers. So why Dell? We've been partnered with them since 2001. We have a long-standing relationship with them. At the end of the day, together, we want to build great customer outcomes, but that technology, while sometimes it's hidden under the covers, it's best in breed, and it's able to deliver features and functionalities that are important. It allows us to better serve the community. And we love sharing, look, we are partnered with Dell because they are best in class. Here's the other thing where I think it's important to call out as well. Even more than ever now, we've seen our solutions team really lean in with our alliances to go create joint solutions to help solve these customer problems. That becomes important. So now know that, we are going to be leaning in more. We can help deliver solutions that are leveraging the full Dell stack, which is, again, helping drive further innovation into the market. And then, I also think it's important that culturally, we both are aligned as organizations on helping tell this multi-cloud story. We understand that there are the right fits and use cases, and people are leveraging multiple clouds. So we want to be able to say, look, when it comes to private clouds, we want, just like with our public clouds, we want to go with best in class. And that's where Dell is really able to help us shine.
Okay, so Dell is best in class. You're putting that brand out front, but does that make a difference with clients when they see that brand alongside Rackspace?
I think everybody wants to understand, look, we're getting reputable, trusted solutions underneath this. We are able to provide aggressive SLAs because of Dell's commitment and resources that are available to us. What does that mean to the customer? Look, we're able to address problems very quickly. Hopefully they never even see it. We lean on their resources and support to help us.
Okay. So can you give us an example, either Mike or Adrianna, of a deal that is being closed through Rackspace, with the Rackspace service wrapper around it using Dell technology that would interest our partners?
Yeah, absolutely. You want me to take
Sure.
this for a minute? So really what we have found together, things that are trending right now, as you would imagine, is business continuity and cost optimization. And this is where repatriation comes into play. When we think about business continuity, there is a new normal right now out there with the way that COVID-19 has impacted how we work from home, how we're working with the offices and communicating with the teams. So together recently, we've helped some of these customers be able to achieve global footprints and be able to drive new solutions in other data centers, either outside their specific region. In this particular case, it was outside of the US. They needed somebody to manage it. They needed help with getting it deployed, getting it up and running, and being able to connect all of the systems together. So that's when we were together able to leverage the innovation, be able to provide a solution and footprint outside of the customer's, in region data center, where they do a lot of in-house capabilities, and help them get all of the management. They didn't have to deploy teams out there. They didn't have to spend time focused on that. We were able to provide the end result of getting them another footprint outside of their specific Northeastern data center.
Great. And Mike, I would assume you're familiar with this deal. Can you tell us what size that deal was?
I'd let AB talk about deal size. I mean, for us, we're kind of the behind the scenes provider, if you will, of the infrastructure component that the Rackspace team monetizes, if you will, from an end user perspective. But I could tell you just from a addressable market, where we see some unbelievable opportunities, just looking at the overall revenue scenario. We've had some of the larger deals that have hit our radar, right, actually be ones that are fulfilled by Rackspace, right? So I think Adrianna can attest to some of the largest deals in Rackspace's history have been deals that our teams have collaborated on and brought two customers together. Because just double clicking into, the why to the Rackspace team, why Dell, and Dell, why Rackspace, I think that's kind of where we see the most opportunity, right? We have roughly 20 years of a relationship in place. It's not because it's, we're still trying to figure it out. When we work together, right, we literally provide, I think, the best in class options that aren't just one, right? We can provide options to customers with the best outcome at the best price point, and it's the best brands on earth, right? And I think that's kind of what helps us differentiate, but also it's kept us together for so long. And, it's the market that believes in that, and I think it's our executives that believe in that, right? We're connected all the way up to our CEOs. They hold each other accountable and stay in touch.
Yeah. And I'll add some additional color on, deal size and what this meant, not only to the organization, but also, also to your partner community as well. So as Mike mentioned, we do see private clouds, as I'm sure your community as well. These are our larger footprints. So when I think about this DR opportunity that we worked on together, it roughly equated to about $35,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And it's expanded and grown since then. They've expanded on the pod that they had built out outside of the US and are continuing to add on more VMs. And that's growth that, together we're leaning on Dell to support and make sure we're providing the technology that we need for our mutual customer. And then from your partner community, they're able to see and take advantage of that growth as well, continuing to build that relationship with the customer. We've also worked, as Mike called out, one of our largest deals in Rackspace history has been working alongside and partnered very closely with Dell and with VMware. Again, as Mike mentioned, VMware is now so much at the heart of their technology, so it's key. And we can be an even more valuable partner into this ecosystem because we bring the Dell expertise that we've had for years, but also we have an incredible amount of VMware expertise within our organization and within our teams. So this specific instance was an ISV platform that was wanting to get out of their data center. They knew that this wasn't sustainable. They were coming up for a different hardware refresh. It made sense to look at this time to make the move. So we worked in partnership together to look at the solution, what it would look like for growth, helped with that migration. And this was a 7-figure a monthly recurring deal for us. We currently, when we think about some of the repatriation plays, these are customers that are probably spending somewhere more in the 6-figure a month deal, potentially with a public cloud. All of a sudden they're reevaluating and they've been maybe using some of these hyperscalers for a couple of years now for certain applications. It's not as spiky or as volatile as they maybe originally anticipated. They may have, the company and organization may not have achieved the app modernization that they had intended to do because of leadership change, because of different priorities. Again, so much can happen. So all of a sudden they're looking at, does this really make sense? I still want to leverage hyperscalers as part of my business plan. Like, it's not that they're going to go one way or another, but all of a sudden some footprints, they're really reevaluating, does the hyperscaler really make sense, or can I optimize my cost another way? So when we're seeing some of those 6-figure deals in hyperscalers, that is translating also to 6-figure a month deals within private cloud. But overall, the TCO is going to be better for them over time, and they see that. And even with our managed services along the way.
So a couple good points there that you made. Number one, access to the hyperscalers. I think most of our partners have looked to Rackspace as access to the hyperscalers because they don't want to get hands-on and actually manage it. And also they tend to like to get paid for the deals they sell. And a lot of the hyperscalers don't want to pay unless someone is reselling. And so Rackspace has been that avenue. But what you're saying is, look, some of those 6-figure a month deals in MRR move over to private cloud with this Dell partnership. And sometimes because of the management put in place, you're talking about 7 figures a month in MRR. That's stuff that gets our partners' attention, and what we see increasingly they're involved with as they've continued to go from mid-enterprise to large enterprise. Those types of deals are increasingly common as we see those. So good to know that Rackspace and Dell are a destination for that.
Yep, we want to help them be in a position where they're getting additional value over time, because for them, for a lot of these customers, optimization isn't always necessarily price, but it's how much more value that they can bring. And we're able to offer that, really focused on the management and operation and services, because we are relying so much on the technology that Dell helps bring to the table. So we can focus on providing those better outcomes, knowing that we have that strong partnership. And when they're put in a spot where I'm getting more value and I'm also going to save more money in the long run, they're going to be able to reinvest in other areas, which in turn, what we see is that that's going to end up coming back around to help them grow more of these technology lines of business. So at the end of the day, I think your partner community can see that they'll be in a position as well to continue to grow with these customers, even though we're helping show them some initial savings from potentially where they are currently hosted.
So when we get into deals of this size and a partner is engaging with a customer and brings together the Rackspace team, Rackspace elects to bring in the Dell team, what kind of executive involvement can you get with a multiple 6 figures or 7-figure a month from the organizations?
Oh, our executives want to help us, support us and our partner community in any way possible. It is very common that we have executive sponsors for our high profile deals. Like, we believe establishing that executive alignment early, and we have multiple examples of where Dell, also with executives involved either on the back end or at the table as well in front of the customer. We want to be flexible to help show and demonstrate, look, we're committed, and what does it need, what do you need to help us drive the successful outcome?
Great. Great. Well, great story and great commitment to the channel in terms of, Rackspace's track record with the channel, and then the added value of Dell behind in terms of going after these much larger organizations that are repatriating their cloud out of hyperscalers into private cloud. Great information today, great opportunity for our partners who are watching. Any last thoughts before we part that you'd like to share with our partners?
That's a good question. I would say, look, I think I want to make sure that all partners are really thinking about the resources they have available to them through Rackspace and the community and the partner network that we provide. You know, we always want to see ourselves as an extension of the team. I have firmly believed, I worked with different partners of all shapes and sizes. And if we can make it easy for the partner to do business with us, then in turn, they're going to want to continue to do business with us. So from resources on the tech and pre-sale side to helping respond to RFPs, when it comes to things that, you know, where we would need to pull in VMware or Dell, like we have that available. All of that is added value for your partners to demonstrate more credibility and drive the right meaningful conversations in front of their customers. So we want to help, you know, we want to help your partner community look good. So allow us, take advantage of that, really lean in. We're here to help.
Great. Mike, any last words?
Just piggybacking off of, I think this is a great opportunity to build, you know, credibility, right? There was two things I was just thinking through when Adrianna was speaking. You know, one is the reality that there'll always be multi-cloud. We hit on it a few times during our talk here today, right? So I think having someone like a Rackspace that has subject matter expertise in public, in private, in multi, right? The unbelievable amount of you know, subject matter experts that you could tap into, whether it's a Microsoft, an Oracle, a mainframe, whatever workload, right? I think double downing on the fact that from a Dell Technologies perspective, you know, there's like, you know, from a VMware just line of sight, right? 600,000 vSphere customers, that's 70 million workloads. That's a massive addressable market, right? And the more you can highlight the fact of, you know, best of breed provider, it's best of breed technologies, I think it's just a massive upside, you know, for your partners that are looking to help customers, not just with one transaction, but the fact that things have been, you know, growing in data capacities and getting more fragmented than ever before. It's a great time to come in as a true advisor with a great outcome opportunity working with a partner like a Rackspace.
Great. All right. Our takeaway today, of course, Rackspace always giving fanatical support. Our partners look to Rackspace to deliver managed services, including cloud. But the story on top of that today being leveraging the Dell brand for these large customers you're bringing in, engage the full technology stack with the help of Rackspace to get these repatriation deals. Adrianna, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your partnership. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.